Hi, I'm Kim Cash in Portland, Oregon, and today I'm going to share with you a Danish tradition. My husband was born and raised in Denmark, and he became a U.S. citizen during his senior year in high school. And this is one of the traditions that they shared with me. So I want to show you, first off, we have the Danish ebeskiver pan, which make kind of what we think of as donut holes. And they also make pancakes which are thin. And what we think of as pancakes, they don't even have that. What they have is a very thin pancake, which we would probably call a crepe. So I'm going to share with you something about the Danish traditions of these things. What I'm going to make first is a quick egg skewer. And I use Bisquick. With that, I'm using 4 eggs, just the egg whites, and I'm going to blend that up, and I'm going to do it right here with my KitchenAid mixer. So there's also a recipe where you can do it the slow way, which is all from hand. And here's the egg yolks, which I will save for something else. But I'm going to add in my 4 egg whites, and I'm going to blend those up with some sugar. I'm going to add in about a 1/4 cup of sugar, just to make it nice and fluffy, because it will make the crepes and the ebeskiver much more fluffy. So I'm going to put that on high for a second. I'm going to add in my 2 cups of Bisquick, which you could use to make just regular American pancakes. This is kind of a blend of the Danish and American tradition, which is something we do a lot. So I'm going to turn that on. Let that mix up. I'm going to add about a cup of heavy whipped cream to my mixture. And I'm going to let that mix up for about 2 minutes. Then what I'm going to do is add in a little bit of water, because this is a little thicker than I want it. And you want it to be pretty thin. Not like a pancake batter, but very thin. So this is about 1/4 of a cup of water. Now that my batter's ready, and you can see how thin this is, it's not like a pancake batter. It's totally way thinner than what we're used to here in America. But I'm going to mix up the topping, which is about 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and about 1 cup of Philadelphia cream cheese, and about 1/2 cup of heavy whipped cream. So I'm just going to mix those over here. I'm emptying the sugar and the softened cream cheese. And then to give it a little mixture of moisture, I'm going to add in my 1/2 cup of whipped cream. And to that, I'll also add about a tablespoon of lemon zest, and just a touch of, this is orange zest, and just a touch of lemon zest. Lemon zest is much more difficult to get. So I'm just going to throw that in. Try to get every little bit. I'm going to blend that up till it's nice and smooth to go over the top like a glaze. Now that I've got my topping pretty much mixed up and nice and smooth, I'm going to add in some apricot pineapple jam. But you could use whatever kind of jam you have, or if you have fresh berries, you could use that, or fresh fruit. But a couple nice big tablespoons, and I'm just going to blend that in. Okay, now that this is all mixed in, I'm just going to put it aside while I make my crepe and my ebeskiver. But I'm just going to set it in the bowl so that we'll have our topping already. And this can go inside the middle of the crepe and also be used as a topping for the ebeskiver, which typically we use, a Danish tradition is to use powdered sugar. But you can use jam too. So there's my topping. Now I'm just going to start my crepe, which I have the pan over here heating. So you just put a nice covering on the pan. I like to use cast iron, and it just cooks really well, and it also gives you some iron in your diet. So I like that. It just feels like it's healthier. So I'm just going to let that run around over on the plate. And this is, cast iron is really heavy, so you have to kind of work with it. And sometimes I'll have my husband come and do it because he's really good with the crepe. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. And I have a gas stove, so that's the one thing I don't like about gas is when you're cooking this kind of a thing, it tilts. The pan will tilt back and forth. But now I've got the crepe going, and as soon as that gets a little more cooked, I'm going to put in my mixture. And now I'm going to do a couple of äbeskivas so you can see what that's like. And I'm just going to spoon this in to these, and you only fill them about halfway full because they will turn into, we have to flip them, and that's kind of a trick. My mother-in-law does this a lot. I'm not as good at it as somebody who's grown up having these, but you fill it about halfway, and I have 2 of these pans, and you can get them at a specialty store, or you could probably order them online, but these are äbeskiva pans. And what it means, äbeskiva, in Danish, I think is apple balls. And there's no apple in it, so I don't really know why it's called that, but that is what it's called. And you let those cook. I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit because I have it on a very low heat. So now my crepe's ready to flip, and I'm going to put some of my sauce, my Philadelphia cream cheese, and my whipped cream right in the middle. You could add a little more jam if you wanted to, and then you could either roll it up or flip it. And I have a silicone glove where I could do this a little better without getting burnt. But see how that comes. You can see how pretty that is. And then I'm just going to throw it on my plate because you really don't have to heat up the insides. It's just a serving to make it a little sweeter. You can see how pretty that is. It's real thin. And then I'm also going to drizzle on a little bit more over the top. And I'm going to add a little more jam. Add some jam over the top. And then a little powdered sugar that I have sitting here. And this is a dessert. We might, in America, we might eat this for breakfast, but in Europe, this is typically a dessert. And so now I've got to flip my äbeskiva, and what I'm going to use is a fork and a spoon. And one of the things that Danish people use a lot is toothpicks, but I've never been very good at that. And some people have little skewers that they use. And you can see how these start to look like little balls if you flip them just right. So this crepe just came off the pan, and what I'm going to do is add some of my mixture, my cream cheese and apricot pineapple mix. So I've just put in some of my mixture, which is my Philadelphia cream cheese and apricot pineapple mixture, and now I'm just rolling up my crepe. And you can put some more over the top, which I will do, just a little bit. And I'm just going to spread it down the length of it. And I'm just going to put it over here to add it with the one I did originally. And you can see I made that batter a little thinner. Then I'm just going to go over here and take off the äbeskiva, which you can see are now these nice little pastry balls. And typically, Danish people just sprinkle these with powdered sugar and dip them in jam. But I have made my own little sauce, which is a combination of the Danish-American way of combining cultures. So I'm going to put these here, take a couple more of these, and put my sauce on them. Just a little bit, I'm just spreading it over it. You can see how pretty that is. And then the powdered sugar. And then I'm just going to sit down and have a taste. And this is a typical Danish kind of a meal. This is great. I hope you'll try some kind of combination of 2 cultures. Thank you for joining me.